So what do these promises mean? Ask and it will be given you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. Everyone who asks receives. To the one who seeks finds. And the one who knocks, it will be opened. What do those promises mean? Do they mean everything you ask for, when you ask for it, the way you want it, you get? Well, your experience tells you, I suppose it doesn't mean that because that doesn't happen. That's not a good way to decide what texts mean. I don't think it means that. That's not my experience either. It doesn't mean that textually. It shouldn't mean that morally. And you wouldn't want it to mean that if you could. I wonder if you believe that. Let me take those one at a time. It shouldn't mean that, because if you could, at the word, make God do something, you'd be God. Wouldn't you? Everything I tell him to do, he does. You'd be God. If you can boss God, you're God. That's the first reason it shouldn't mean that. Shouldn't. Because God is God and he ought to be God, and therefore it's right for God to be God, right for you not to be God, and therefore woe is you if every prayer gets answered. Secondly, you wouldn't want it to mean that. I think I might write the Star article this week, if I can manage the creativity, about what happens to the man who the president finds out every one of his prayers gets answered. So you'd be shipped off to Washington immediately. Okay? Now, pray about Iraq. Pray this. And as soon as you pray that, somebody's going to shoot you dead. Or somebody else is going to tell you to pray this. Well, pray this for Somalia. No, not that. That's not going to work. Pray this. No, that won't work. Pray this for Indonesia. Pray this because that won't work. Somebody else, and you can back up and say, excuse me, I wasn't designed to do this. Only God can run the world. I cannot run the world. Well, then you just better stop being so eager to be able to have all your prayers answered. So you wouldn't want it, I promise. You'd be crushed in a minute or assassinated as soon as somebody found out everything you asked for came true. You don't want that. Now here's that. All that's irrelevant because it's not in the text. I'm just telling you, biblically, that's you don't want to go there. But what does the text mean? That's the question. What does the text mean? So the reason I say not only should it not mean that everything you ask for you get, and you wouldn't want it to mean that, but it doesn't mean that. That's my third and final observation. And the reason I say it is because it looks to me like Jesus is so carefully saying, now, if you as a father have a son who asks him for bread, would you give him a stone? No, you won't give him a stone. If he asks for fish, egg, would you give him a serpent? No, you won't give him a serpent. Doesn't that beckon us to ask this? What if the kid asks for a serpent? I think it's unmistakably clear in this text that God would not give it to him. Fathers don't give poisonous snakes to 3-year-olds. They don't do it no matter what the kid is crying for in the pet shop. Can I hold it? Can I hold the rattlesnake? It just makes such cute noise. I like his teeth. You just say, you don't understand. You don't understand. No. The answer is no, because I love you. And the instances of that could be multiplied. God does not give bad, hurtful, and I mean ultimately hurtful. This tries our faith to the limit, doesn't it? Because if you thought that what you're getting after you prayed for this is better, you wouldn't have prayed for that. You would have prayed for this. I asked for healing. I asked for a job. I asked for a fixed marriage. If I'd wanted this, I would have asked for it. This is not what I wanted. This tries our faith to the limit. And my theology from every part of the Bible is God only gives what is good for His children to His children. Period. Painful as it has been. And I'm deeply, deeply thankful for the stability that brings into our lives, and how many of you, having embraced that sovereign goodness and grace of God, have been enabled to weather some of the most horrific situations. I am so